Yes, indeed, and we're going to get into it right away. I think JinAir maybe goes for some more safe wave clear this game. Part of the problem that they encountered is once the Jin got to the mid lane and the Vladimir had to be the one clearing the wave, he needed to walk forward, and as we saw, Kuzan really struggled with staying alive in that scenario, getting caught out by so many of the roots or single target stuns that the Tigers composition used, and they're going to ban up the Elise.
All right, so double jungle ban here from the side of JinAir so far.
Yeah, they're taking out the early aggressive junglers and hoping probably that Wing can get on the Graves again and just farm it out this time.
Trundle here from the side of ROX to go with that second Shen ban. They're going to take Sivir out, so still trying to deny that champion away from Pilot, which removes a potential source of that wave clear, like you've been saying, that JinAir should want to get going into this match.
I think the Sivir ban is definitely smart, and they haven't moved at all when it comes to their bans. Just going Shen, Trundle, Sivir 2 games in a row now. And the Rek'Sai would be a fine early pickup. It's basically the last early game jungler available. Peanut has played Lee Sin this season once. But the Rek'Sai,
all right,
certainly a bit higher priority. And at least you can, with some creative tunnels and of course flash on burrows, make some of these ganks work. And JinAir, Kuzan's been really great on the Vladimir this season. That last game accepted, but it wasn't really his fault as an individual what happened. Of course, the Drake RNG hugely in favor of the Tigers that last game.
Sure.
With such an early game focused composition, being able to fight around those 2 Infernals back to back was absolutely huge for them.
Well, it's actually going to be Gragas here for JinAir. Whether or not it's going to be top or jungle, we'll have to wait and see, but could be either. But
yeah, I like the introduction of a flex pick. And remember, last game, one of the big problems for JinAir was they only had the Ash Arrow for engage, and they're just going to solve that problem right away. Obviously, the synergy between Gragas ult and Vladimir ult's not the best, so you have to make sure that you know how to team fight properly with your teammates and communicate how exactly all of that is going to go down, but certainly does solve some of the issues that they were having regarding closing the gap between themselves and the Tigers. And that is bold to take the Jin into the Gragas for sure.
Felt really safe in that last game.
Please don't play Azir, Kuro. Yeah, you see Bray looking at him and laughing. Definitely a troll hover right there. Of course, we know that Kuro, very weak Azir player.
Well, it will be Aurelia for Smeb. We saw in the weekly LCK video. Duncan hoping that Smeb has recovered since that last Aurelia performance that he had.
And this is what we wanted to see, Achilleos. This is what we can get excited about because this is Smeb's first Aurelia game this season. So exciting times.
Trace now with this hover over the Reddington, maybe thinking about trying his hand at that. Smeb very much ran away with that, but I don't know if Trace is much of a Reddington player in his history.
And we also got the first Renekton victory. I still think it's such a risky pick, and it does require some pretty tight execution on timing windows, which the Tigers were successful with, but we won't know really how much of that is the Tigers being the Tigers versus GP.
Gangplank coming in. Interesting, we haven't seen a GP in so long now. Really fell out of favor with the nerfs. Actually, that's not even true. Even after the nerfs to the number of barrels we saw, still a good amount of Gangplank, but since the summer split started up and going into playoffs, we haven't really seen him pretty much at all, so.
Yeah, interesting too. Of course, he is one of those champions that was affected by the Trinity Force changes pretty substantially. You do trade, of course, the crit and the move speed that you were going to get with for the cooldown reduction now. Obviously, both stats are good on Gangplank, but does make his burst a little bit lower, but evens out, I think, the consistency of his damage.
We'll see how this one's going to perform at the Gangplank into Aurelia.
Yeah, I love this pick.
There we go.
So Nivea did receive nerfs on the latest patch.
Yeah, mana cost on the ultimate's up early.
Yeah, not very much, but they're going back to what we saw be done to them by SK Telecom. When they tried to run Vladimir Swain, there was an Ezreal and an Anivia pick by SKT, and it proved highly effective. And in this game, wow, that Gangplank and that Vladimir are going to be kiteable to the max, and I think the Bard is a very good answer. So they're going to have more forms of engage. They're going to be trying to scale with the Vladimir and the GP, but the GP, of course, with the barrels is going to have better wave clear, and now they've got Gragas ult and the Bard ult for different forms of engage.
Well, they're still taking their time with it. It's likely to be locked in, but they could flip for something different. They did play Braum in the last game, but it will be Bard coming out, so very aggressive bot lane there, coupled with the Lucian.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're playing at least one early game lane in the Bard Lucian to balance out the scaling that they have in their solo lanes. Also, Wing will have some good gank presence on the map early. I think that's one of the reasons why you wanted to take the Gragas over the Graves, is that he at least has a bit more force in the early game when it comes to ganking and trying to set his lanes up for success. So ROX Tigers, though, this composition that they're running, they will be better set up for late game team fights than they were in game number 1. JinAir heavily banking on those late game team fights where they will still be very strong, and they've changed over from the Aurelia pick into the Gangplank, where again, with the barrels, you have a little bit better wave clear. You're not going to get caught out in the mid lane if you're Kuzan, probably, because there's no range stun from the Elise coming in, and you're also just not going to be tethered or slowed down by the Karma. So it should be easier for him to walk up to the wave. Of course, he's still going to take a lot of damage from the Anivia, but he's not likely just to be permanently CC'd and die. At least he'll be able to actually hit that Sanguine Pool and get out.
Well, we have an AP jungler in the Gragas, so I can only hope we have a Proto Belt Gragas. Proto Belt forward into Body Slam or vice versa.
That'd be great.
That'd be a really nice
I really
combo.
hope we see that.
They'd never see it coming. Take your tips from me, Winged. All right, though, let's get into Game 2 and see if the Tigers can close out with a 2-0 finish, or if JinAir will take us to Game 3. All right, another Ocean Drake will start us off. Whether or not it's going to be an Infernal Following, we'll find out.
Maybe in for some standard lanes here, ROX.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to go for the swap if you're ROX, because you have a Lucian Bard?
I think it's a hard call. For the duo lane, they probably do want to swap it up just to not deal with the Lucian Bard with the Soraka Jhin, but at the same time, you really don't want to allow this Gangplank to be free farming if you have an opportunity perhaps to get kills early, because you have an Aurelia Rek'Sai. So there is some kill pressure onto the GP because he can't cleanse out of the knockup. So
it begins.
Yeah, should be a little bit tough for Kuzan in this matchup. Kuro was on the receiving end of this matchup versus Faker, and didn't look too good.
Well, it doesn't really look that good typically when Kuro is on the receiving end of a Faker matchup.
Matchup. That's true. It's true.
Usually goes very poorly.
Cry did better in this matchup. They did switch mid laners after game number 1.
Yeah. Well, Invasion's going to be coming through here from Pilot and Shay up to the top side. Gromp's already been smited by Peanut. They might be able to take this one away.
We got it.
Oh. Well,
that is very annoying, and that is why you don't smite early when you're weak side jungling a Gromp in a lane swap. That is, they were trying to get the Gromp buff just to get some extra damage down, do the Gromp faster, but you have an early invade, and especially when Pilot was there too. But this is gonna be a nice response here because Trace was in the lane.
Get some good damage down onto the Gangplank. He's going to be chugging away at that Corrupting Potion. He uses the 2 charges. And now will join Winged a little bit late at the blue buff. But we'll have to see how that's going to affect Peanut. Not getting that gold from the Gromp. Pretty major. And also the flash being down. That's, no flash on Burrows for those early ganks. So going to be waiting a little while before he can really be effective.
Well, he probably wasn't going to gank before his flash is up anyway because it is a lane swap. And it's pretty much just going to be farming for the first 5 minutes of the game or so.
Very true.
So it's probably not going to have that big of an effect. He does double back right now and take out the Wolves. Ward from JinAir onto the enemy blue buff, but it does just expire. And because Trace went to lane there to pick up a couple of CS, he's not actually going to get over any faster to the top turret, so the tempo advantage that could have been developed from JinAir by making that play at the Gromp is sort of gone now, just because Trace had to walk all the way across the map. It's going to be just about even though the Lucian can, of course, chip away at this tower just a little bit faster than the Jin.
It's interesting, Winged not opting to go for the blue buff despite the team taking that turret on that side of the map. Could have actually only gotten one buff onto Peanut if he had gone over there, but opts to go for his own red.
It's probably gonna, so they'll probably get over there eventually. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Let's see, depends on how long they want to stick around. Wolf Spirit is in there for ROX, and they will spot him if he starts going for it. You can see him walking in now.
It's unfortunate for the Tigers as Winged is going to be seen by the Wolf Spirit, because I think they'd love to give this first blue buff over to Kuro if possible.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely huge for this matchup and for Kuro's ability just to get that nice sustain right as he hits 6, but not going to be the case. Instead, it will be Winged sneaking in there after the Wolf Spirit expires and taking it away. So
triple buff there for the side of JinAir. Nice start for these guys.
yeah, and JinAir is actually, or ROX rather, is going to opt in to this matchup in the 2v2. They return their duo lane straight back into the bottom side, and Pilot did get the cull, so Prey here with an extra longsword in this matchup has 10 extra damage, and
oh boy,
maybe he'll do something with it. Smeb is...
Alright, we'll spot it.
Yeah, the Peanut's here, so...
Yep, gonna go ahead and use that Equilibrium Strike. Trace not really nearby, but it's even just damage coming up from the Gragas is gonna be pretty significant, so he takes some hits. We'll have that sustain on the hitting style, but has to get through the poke that'll be coming out from that GP. Nice tray there for Kuro. Really using that Anivia, but falling behind in CS, down 13.
Yeah, there's a big wave coming over to actually equalize, though. But it is a little bit concerning that Trace did get a couple of levels, at least for the moment, out. And Smeb has been on the periphery because a little bit of nice zoning there from Wing to set it up. He should get 10 to 15 minions. Looks like off of this wave, though, it's been pushing forward for quite some time.
See how much he can equal out. Has that double dagger, so can really work through those minions and get as much trade damage as humanly possible onto Trace with the hidden style when he rocks it. Rome coming top yet again here from Winged. Might be looking for a gang.
Well, they really would love to prevent Smeb from getting this minion wave if possible, but no wards in there. They all have expired right now. Massive wave built up for Smeb to take, but he is 25 down, and there are not 25 CS in that wave. They're about 15, it looks like.
Yep.
So he's still going to be a little bit hungry unless they actually get a kill onto Trace, who's setting up these barrels quite nicely down
Peanut's
the lane.
nearby. That's going to be the slow coming out from the Equilibrium Strike. Peanut walking in will get slowed up by that barrel. Flash away from Trace. Flash on Burrow, though, from Peanut. Trace is going to go down. First blood going over to Smeb. Nicely played.
Yeah, how much are they going to lose from this? Okay, looks like not much, as the cannon minion was there to get focused by the turret. And a nice play. Trace still has an advantage. I actually love the way Trace set up his barrels in that lane. You could tell that he had a plan if that gank was coming. They weren't chained together, but he could run between them or add an extra barrel to get that link down, and very nearly survived that, actually. Forced a summoner out of Peanut in accordance, or in trade for his own flash, and Trace is going to be going for the Trinity Force now, so this is the first time we're going to get a peek in the professional scene here in Korea at a new Trinity Force gangplank.
Might be. I don't even know if he's been picked anywhere right now.
I
haven't heard about it.
I do not know, but I'm not sure, but I haven't seen it myself.
Could be our first Triforce GP in the world.
At the professional level.
Well, yes, at the professional
sure,
level,
it's been
of
played
course.
thousands and thousands of times already. But
yes, that is very true. But we'll see how that one's going to turn out. Just has the long sword on top of the sheen for the time being. Smeb has been able to get back a good amount of CS, now just down by about 7. So keeping it close, and he'll have a nice buy on that next backwood with the bonus that he got from First Blood. So should be able to finish off the Stinger and maybe come in with a Sheen. We'll see if he wants to go for that, be very aggressive, or go the more defensive route with a Phage.
Yeah, certainly having an easy time trading now, as he has caught up when it comes to levels. Still, though, the CS difference made up for by the kill. So they really had to get that, otherwise Smeb was in deep trouble.
Yep, okay. Takes a bit there. We'll take a magical journey to safety, however. We can see Winged is waiting over the wall. Don't think they know that he's here. They don't have that warded up. And Peanut's backed off towards the red buff, but looks like Winged will peel back as well. This might just be a first dragon going over to JinAir.
Yeah, there are pings on it from JinAir, and it looks like Soraka is going to check.
Yep.
Just hit the star call over the wall. And they're going to open up with a curtain call.
Yeah, curtain call comes through. Wing's going to take one shot. Body slams backward. Dragon still being chunked out, down to about 700. Peanut not going to go over the wall, try for the steal. Doesn't have that flash to get himself out to safety, so we'll just give that one over. It's an Ocean Drake, and they are going to be perfectly fine with making that trade.
Yeah, they couldn't actually go for that. Kuro wasn't in lane. He didn't take teleport this game. He actually took Ignite to help cut down the healing from the Vladimir, which is, I must say, an interesting decision. Usually you would want that extra mobility on the Anivia, considering that she does have trouble following other champions around the map with her low mobility. But this time, has to take the Ignite, because there's really not a great person to get Grievous wounds on. Actually, Prey is definitely not going to be wanting to build a Mortal Reminder or a Last Whisper if he's going to keep up with the same build that we saw in the last game, considering his flat armor penetration is going to be so high. And there's no Graves, there's no Kindred in this game, so Peanut's not going to be building it. And as we've seen, most Anivia players, and what we're likely seeing now, is tier into Rod of Ages, so no Morellonomicon. That means that Ignite was kind of necessary just based on the composition, and it looks like that is going to hurt the Tigers a little bit when it comes to actually controlling these objectives.
We'll be a little bit late on that Rod of Ages, still doesn't have the Catalyst. Opted to go for the Boots of Swiftness with the tier, so he can zip his way around and maximize his move speed on this Vladimir that does have Ghost.
Yeah, just starting to push up now, recovering in that CS deficit now that Kuro has his ultimate and is able to push a little bit more aggressively. But yeah, that also, I think the lack of teleport really hurt him early.
Ultimate coming out, it's going to be the Cannon Barrage thrown down. Trace, wow, one hit from Dead Peanut. Can he find the snipe? Becomes unburrowed. Looks like Trace will walk out of this one alive. Winged as well. Not going to take too much. We'll be able to retreat back. Rogue's coming up, though, from Kuro and Gorilla. Smeb taking a ton of damage, gets knocked right into Trace, who just takes him down with a shot of the pistol. Peanut will retreat, and a kill picked up from JinAir. Yeah, nicely played by Winged.
That could have really easily been flashed by Smeb, and he got cocky because the wish was there, but the damage, again, one thing that hasn't changed about the GP is what's going to happen with a Parlay and a Sheen. So the one shot doing enough work right there, and I think a little bit overbold from Smeb. Going to try and turn it back around, though. Pilot pretty far up.
Coming through. Pilot. Oh!
That was ugly.
Unfortunate. Smeb gonna try to dash forward. The TP's gonna be answered by Trace. Doesn't have a Cannon Barrage, so he can't slow him up, so he's just gonna cancel that one.
And it looked like no curtain call available for Prey to actually open up that engagement, and Smeb misjudged how far that Lucian could have run, was late on the ward placement to actually catch him. So Pilot with a very easy escape. Simple from the lane, and that's a burn TP from the Tigers. They were lucky that Trace actually decided to use his. It was actually entirely unnecessary for Trace to even start that channel, considering that Winged was there and Pilot was safe. So, bad play, but a bit of a lucky break for the Tigers.
Oh, well, Kuzan trying to get aggressive onto Kuro. It's going to be the pop coming out from the ultimate. Bard ultimate will connect, and Kuro not really much of anywhere to go. The egg is still there, but they'll be able to chunk this one out. Peanuts coming in, trying to get the defense in, but they knock Kuro even closer with the cask. He's going to go down. Kuzan finds the kill, but now Frey arriving with Gorilla, seeing if they can get any work done. It's not going to happen. All they do is land a root, and they're going to have to back off. So JinAir find another pick.
Wing doing so much this game already. Just great Gragas play. And I like the adjustment that JinAir made. Instead of just putting Winged on one of these farm-heavy late-game carry junglers, they put him with something that can make these plays early and can catch people out. And there's a big difference between having Winged and Che on the initiation, on the champions that can make picks, compared to what we saw last game where it was all on Pilot's Ashe. And now they can actually make aggressive plays on the map.
Yep. We're gonna get some damage in here onto Winged. Wave crashing through. Looks like JinAir might be able to just force this one up, and they can. Cask's not there, but still enough damage and lockdown that Frey has to just be cautious enough to back off. So second turret pickup here for JinAir GreenWings. They find themselves with a 2,000 gold advantage just 13.5 minutes in.
That horn that sounds when Jin has a crit is so annoying. Just a constant blaring siren in the lane.
There's a lot of things in this game that are very annoying.
I know. It's just that's one of the things I like least about League of Legends is that with every new champion and skin, they just add more and more just like audio spam into the game.
It needs to be immersive. Oh, Trace getting engaged on here by Smep. Big pop. Damage comes through from Kuro. They will take him down. So nicely executed there. We'll put a second on the board. Still suffering a little bit in gold, but netting themselves this tier 1 tower up top will really help equalize that.
Yeah, if they can actually push it down, we do see Bard and Gragas.
Ooh, yeah, this could actually be decently risky. The explosive cask is there.
Yeah, Trace has TP.
You spot them.
It doesn't have ult though. Did burn it on that gank.
They won't be able to kill it here. Get a good amount of damage in, but they're going to have to peel back.
Looks like Frey had to flash out of something in the mid lane.
Yes, he did. Interesting.
I'm not sure what it was, but he did actually use his flash, so could have been a mistake as well, considering that he has a lot of HP.
Well, Dragon has respawned. It's a mountain to follow things up, so I like this. It's start with an Ocean, then get something valuable. We'll see whether or not we get a second Mountain Drake in a row and really keep the pattern going.
I think Ocean was actually great for Tigers in the last game. It just depends on the composition, but Tigers actually just going to trade this for a turret and for denying Trace. So all eggs in the Smeb carry basket right now because they are making very deliberate decisions about where they're going to have their advantage. Prey will sidestep.
Nice use of the Yomus.
Yeah, the Tempered Fate.
Kuzan trying to go really aggressive. Throws down the Hemo Plague onto Kuro.
Yeah, that's the issue with JinAir in the late game. Yes, they have the Tempered Fate, and they have more redundancy in their engage with the Explosive Cast also, but when you think about the Silence Field from Soraka and the Wall from Anivia, combined with the Glacial Storm, still difficult for this Vlad and this GP to ever actually do damage in the late game. Same true of Pilot on the short-range Lucian. So Tigers can hold, if they can hold it together, they may be able just to kite their way to a win right here, but JinAir certainly showing up and playing significantly better in game number 2.
Yeah, for sure. See, gold going to be about 500 separating now after that tier 1 went down. But a Mountain Drake for JinAir makes for very easy turret takes. But when they'll be able to force up and try to get onto one, that's the big question.
It does make for easy turret takes, but they have a really poor composition for sieging.
Yeah. Low range ADC.
Vlad GP, that hurts. And they don't have double TP either, so it's not like they can execute some sort of 1-3-1 strategy, especially when Smeb now has that advantage in the top side and has now picked up the buff from the Rift Herald. And so until the 37-minute mark will now be a bit of a handful in the 1v1 for either Trace or for Kuzan. It's looks like ROX just really looking to push around this Aurelia. And we've seen that work. Cuve had some pretty big Aurelia games when ambition set him up early to succeed.
Yeah.
And in spite of that very large early CS deficit, it has been just Peanut there helping out, and Smeb starting to slowly take over this matchup.
Well, Rod of Ages has been completed here for Kuro. So we'll see that one finish off in about 27.5 minutes or so. We'll get that fully stacked up. Still has been really suffering as far as CS goes at the hand of Kuzan. 23 CS behind.
Yeah, it's a bit rough, but again, without that TP in the mid lane, he didn't have as much presence.
Yeah.
Couldn't just continuously push that wave, run out of mana in the early game, and then come back.
Oh, Smeb trying to get on the Trace will slow him up. Cannon Barrage comes down. Have a good amount of damage here still from this Aurelia, but Trace will be able to zip his way out with that move speed increase, and he gets off the barrel. Shay pushing forward, Frey gonna get exhausted, take that full culling to the face. The wish comes through. The barrel not gonna knock him out. And now Smeb arriving with the TP, trying to turn things around, goes through the magical journey. Can he get onto Jay? Will get stunned immediately, takes a punch, but Kuro comes down with the pitch, finds one kill, but now isn't in much of a position to follow up. Gets a big chunk of damage out on the wing. That's going to be the curtain call coming through. Can they lock up Pilot long enough? Not really going to happen. Gorilla does slow him with the Starfall. Now Kuro coming back through. Wing taking a bunch of damage. Oh my god, the Icicle's not going to be enough to kill him. Now Prey getting engaged onto the TP's coming in through the gangplank now, trying to turn things for JinAir. And this has just been all over the place. 2 for 0 in the end? I don't even know. What happened?
Well, Che died there, so it wasn't 2 for 1.
Oh, okay, 2 for 1.
But Kuzan was absolutely the hero of that fight. The way he zoned off Kuro and Gorilla to prevent Wing from going down. And then he still had the Hemo Plague at the end to pop and get the healing back. So watch this. So they know that Rek'Sai's in the top side because Rek'Sai showed on the minion wave. So they can actually successfully all in this turret with the help of the Tempered Fate. Prey's going to get very low. Does come back, turn around, and root Winged. Smeb is on the TP. Everybody starts to go through the magical journey. Nice stun at the other end. So Kuro eliminates the Bard, but no defensive stats yet on the Aurelia, so easily focused down. But watch what happens here. So Wing takes one shot for the curtain call. Pilot takes a second. Prey with not the best setup. But Kuzan zoning out Kuro, making sure nobody get in, and then he turns it around. Gets the double Hemo Plague, so he knows he's going to get a huge amount of health back and just focuses down Prey. Kuzan did a great job of playing that skirmish.
Really well done. We've seen him on this Vladimir in the past, and
He's been really good.
Very good if we ignore last game where he just really couldn't do a whole lot. But nicely played there by JinAir, keeping themselves nosed out ahead of ROX Tigers so far in this game. 2 Dragons up, really helping them out a lot, or will be helping them out a lot as they move forward. But the Ocean Drake is already going to start doing work.
Yeah, Prey going to go for the Dustblade again. For those big executes once the item passive, I guess we'll call it, kicks in. And it looks like Smeb going to start playing around Prey, and they're going to try and set up a bait here, looks like. As Rek'Sai goes into red side jungle of the Tigers, and they're just pushing up for this next Drake.
Yeah, well, it looks like no one's really going to bite on that.
Drake would be very useful for them. Mountain Drake, the kind of range they have. There we go.
Oh, wow, Smeb just jumping onto Kuzan. Doesn't have the stun. It's going to be the flash out here by the Vladimir. Takes 2 bullets. Might be enough to turn it around, and it is nicely played by Prey, sniping him out for the kill.
Yeah, actually huge that they got that kill before the Hemo Plague pop went off and saved him. He was at the very end of his range, had to use both summoner spells to try and escape that. Smeb with the early Equilibrium Strike. I was worried the slow wouldn't be enough, but the follow-up there from Prey, even though he missed the route after the pool, was enough to actually take him out, considering he doesn't have any armor, just magic resist. So
now that's going to be the Mountain Drake, second one of the game, going over to the side of ROX Tigers, their first one. And yeah, we are going to follow this. It's going to be Ocean, double of insert Drake name, and then Ocean again.
Nice.
So we found the pattern. Trace going to get jumped on by Smeb. He's very bloodthirsty. Doesn't have a flash to continue this chase, however. Barrel there for the slow. He still dashes forward, gets a slow for the Equilibrium Strike, but here comes Jay. Cannon Barrage comes down, will slow up the Aurelia. Looks like he's just going to use that ultimate through the wave. trying to get as much health back as he can.
One of the best things about Smeb in this matchup is that he's been drawing out the cannon barrage so that they can't use it to get aggressive on other parts of the map or even try and fight around objectives with it. It's like the third time that he's killed off that ultimate this game, and that has such a long cooldown that drawing it out in these 1v1s is of utmost importance to the Tigers.
Well, it's been done very nicely by him. See the Frozen Heart completed now for Winged. Going to try to reduce the attack speed of Smeb and Prey as much as he can.
Where's your Proto Belt, Achilles?
There's a Kindle Gem.
The hope is alive.
It's still, I can still hope for it.
It actually is not a bad item.
It's not.
In this case, when you really need to make those engages against the opposition that wants to kite you.
You get right on the Prey's face with that thing. I just hope that Winged agrees. ROX pressuring up in mid, not really going to be able to find too much. Smeb has to go down bot to answer that wave that's been crashing forward. Despite playing with the team, like trying to go for that bait that led into the kill onto Kuzan, he's still been maintaining a CS lead over top of Trace.
Yeah, Deadman's played well, looking for the instant assassination onto the GP, having those convenient stats also for resisting with the armor in lane. Looks like it's going to be another Sterix Gauge this time for Trace.
Yeah.
Interesting. We see that item a couple of times tonight. We haven't seen it in a while. Trace just trying to prevent what Smeb is attempting to do, which is burst him into the ground.
Wave crashing. JinAir not going to be able to do much at the moment. Basically just have to sit around and try to wait for another dragon to come up. The waves have been managed by ROX quite well. They have Smeb, who's continually answering these. He's able to burn him down quickly with the use of that short cooldown ultimate.
Wow, Morellonomicon was actually built by Kuro.
Oh wow, yeah. Going for the Morellonomicon before the Seraphs.
That's a very utility-heavy build from Kuro. But of course we'll have the nice scaling also that comes with the Rod of Ages. It's not going to be completely starved when it comes to dealing damage. He also doesn't need to deal damage with an Aurelia and a Jhin in the game.
Well, he's going to deal damage now. He's looking for that Seraph's Embrace.
He'll get up there. Just interesting to see. Duskblade now done for Prey. Pilot has opted, I think this is very wise, for an early rapid-fire cannon.
Yeah.
Just to get a little bit more range in there because he knows how dangerous all these champions are going to be, and he has to be able to actually hit them if they're kiting.
Yeah, it looks like Last Whisper going to be the next one coming in for him as well. So wants to be able to rip through that armor that Smeb's been building up for himself. So he's not just a non-factor in these fights. Prey, we'll see where he wants to go. Has the long sword. Probably, if I had to guess, the Hex Drinker again.
I think against Vlad, you're going to build the Hex Drinker.
Yeah, well, Vlad and Gragas.
Yeah.
So, definitely a good pickup.
Well, bad news, Winged is building an Aegis.
No! Winged, you've let me down. I am ashamed.
It's all right, the dream for Protobelt Rek'Sai is still alive.
There we go. That would be an interesting one. We might have a little bit of a fight breaking out. Kuro going to flash away from that Bard ultimate, but look at Trace in the bottom lane just getting soloed out by Smeb. Pina now in the front line trying to lock down Kuzan. The TP will be coming through from the Aurelia. They find Wings with the Equilibrium Strike, or rather with the Flash Freeze. He goes over the wall, will be able to dash through, but he gets rooted by Prey. Here comes the curtain call, and Smeb is just wreaking havoc on the back line behind these guards. Jay still getting hit. He goes in really deep, dashes back to the minion of the call. Not going to be able to finish him off. They do find Gorilla, however, and this could be the time for ROX to really back off.
Nice
Wall
ball
coming through from Kuro will keep them pushed back. They're still going to try to get some damage down onto this tower. Kuzan is a very healthy Vladimir, however. See him even just what? The Duskblade.
Duskblade.
Oh my God, that caught me wildly off guard. Kuzan.
Wow, this Jhin build is really something else.
He just disappeared.
Yeah, that happened last game too, to Wing at one point. But yeah, that damage that you can get, it does what, 90 plus 25% of the targets missing health, so
I
it
gotta
can
watch this
do
one again.
a hell of a lot.
Trace was just recalling, not under tower.
Yeah, Smeb also played this beautifully. I mean, coming in immediately thereafter with the teleport to join the fight. Winged is all isolated on the side, can't really do much. I mean, Preya's a long walk from the top side of the map, but they're still able to catch him out. Smeb tries to go for Pilot right here, turns his attention to Jay. Jay flashes with the magical journey. Smeb probably shouldn't have even gone through that magical journey with the Cosmic Binding on the other side. He actually baits Gorilla into his own death right there.
All right, here we go. This is the good stuff, though.
Yeah, this is the good stuff. And this is this 2-item power spike with the Jhin. I mean, Kuzan has a lot of HP, and he's obviously confident. You know, Tides of Blood, he's like, all right, I'm fine. Oh, goodbye. Just
good lord.
Eliminated by the Duskblade. It's also sort of an unlucky timing for the Duskblade to come up.
Yep. Ray, you can see. Oh, he's just going to go ahead and curtain call this one. Will land that one shot and get the CD refund as he almost takes down Jay. Ocean Drake's been started up by ROX Tigers. Nice wall to keep Winged away. They should be able to burn this one through. Bard ultimate comes through, finds Peanut. The Dragon is still engaged. They're gonna be able to burn it out, though.
Yeah, missed the actual Drake right there. You hit Peanut instead, but if you don't have a jungler in the pit, it doesn't really matter if you hit Peanut or not.
God. Just had to hit Kuzan with the caster's curse. I was like, yeah, he's healthy.
Well, that was a fortunate time for the Duskblade cooldown to come back. Let's say that.
Definitely have to keep my eyes on the...
I don't think Kuzan expected that either.
I definitely have to keep my eyes on that animation around him because I didn't notice it the first run through. And that just caught me completely off guard. But wow, what a play from ROX. And JinAir has still been doing a lot better in this game, but ROX are starting to get that lead. Only 1,600 separating them, but now having 2 dragons of their own, so we're going to be even in that regard. They're still up a turret.
Yes, they are, but ROX and JinAir, neither of them really with a substantial advantage right now, not in terms of composition either, as both these team comps should be pretty good into the late game. I'm just wondering when this GP is actually going to do something, because
he's done a lot of dying.
Yes, it's probably still strong late. He is going for a Youmuu's Ghostblade, so it is going to be a very high damage, highly consistent damage GP. Let's put it that way. It is a bit of a different build than we have seen previously. But, you know, I'm not convinced GP is in a great place right now in the meta, especially with only the 3 barrels. That was a pretty massive nerf to his zoning potential in the late game.
I mean, it's
and also, I mean, just the crit changes to Trinity Force do change a lot about the way that Parlay and his barrels are going to be able to actually pack that same punch.
Yeah. It's consistently so for Trace to pull out a counter pick that doesn't necessarily work out. We saw the Echo.
Yeah, and, it does feel like he's going back in time. I mean, especially with the Echo, thematically, I suppose. But he's playing all these champions that he is well known for playing. But
oh boy. Well, he might be going down again. The Serix Gauge will get popped. Smeb's still sticking to him like glue. He's going to find the kill. And poor Prey uses the curtain call, not able to get an assist, but Gorilla will tack onto that one with the use of Wish.
I mean, what are you going to do right now? ROX Tigers have been punishing this GP pick all game, playing around his early game weakness, just feeding Smeb. And when you have the Soraka, they're able to add the Wish in to these duels, and it's just not going to be a good time for the GP.
Smeb's just going to be able to solo out that turret Kuzan, saying, you know what, I can't duel you. I'm just going to try to impact this mid lane, stop that push, and that tower from going down. Calling will be used. Crow takes a bit of damage, but Gorilla is there. Nice flash away at the last second. Will get himself out of that Bard ultimate. And now Smeb is just going to clean house through that bottom side of the jungle and probably back off and buy himself another item to make himself even stronger. Surprised we didn't see a Wits End from him. Went for the Spirit Visage. But haven't seen that item yet.
Yeah, he's, it is interesting that he's going so tanky. I mean, the Wits End, not very useful in the GP matchup, which is where he's been going most of the time. Of course, neither is the Spirit Visage, but it does give him a little bit more survivability from potential Vladimiring later on, without necessarily guaranteeing that he has to hit a bunch of auto attacks before he builds up that magic resist.
Well, Smeb has just been pretty much running the game.
Yes.
For the majority of this one. 3, 2, and 3. So did miss out on 2 kills that he has participated in, but he's stretching a very nice lead. Che gonna get caught trying to get through that magical journey, but the bullets can line up perfectly. Flashes behind Pilot. Might be the sacrificial lamb. He still goes down at the end. Pilot says, I'm not taking this one for you. You're on your own, buddy. Flashes
Pilot,
back to the other side.
They used 3 summoners for none, though.
They just leapfrogged over top of each other.
Yeah,
It was leapfrog Russian roulette. Who's gonna die?
That sounds like a very exciting game there.
I'd watch that on ESPN.
I'd watch it too.
I'll put it on the Ocho. Smeb got a TP in the backside, gets a stun on the Trace, who cleanses it off with the orange, but he runs straight into Peanut, gets popped up in the air. Steric's Gauge not going to do anything to save his life, and Smeb is not done yet. Goes straight into the back line, trying to heal up with that ultimate. The wish comes through from Gorilla, just pumping heals out into Peanut and Smeb, keeping them healthy throughout this entire exchange. Peanut goes forward with the tunnel, can't find it. Flash forward by Smeb, flash answered by Kuzan. Pilot takes a chunk from the W, but the root's not going to come through, and ROX will back off after taking down GP once again.
Yeah, they do have some sustain options here. You can see the Ocean Drake ticking away. And they're going to try and re-engage this now. Looks like...
Oh, yeah, here comes Peanut, gets a pop-up on the wing, straight into the root. He doesn't go very far with that body slam. Peanut's taking a bit of damage in the front line, but Pilot's not been able to do a whole lot. Now Smeb going through, gets a reset, jumps right onto him. Last auto attack will take him down. The wall coming out a little bit too late to stop Kuzan, but 3 members down. That should be Baron going over to ROX Tigers now.
Yeah, they just keep turning, and they're using the advantage that they have because they can make picks from such a long way away with the Jin that if anybody deals damage, the root can immediately follow through after. And it's just been beautiful Jin play from Prey in this best of 3 tonight, and they are going to finally take that Baron, head back home, and then set up for a siege. Take a look at this, and yeah, I mean, just consistent damage coming through from Smeb. And once he's on one of those targets, so hard to get him off. Pops in, Equilibrium Strike onto Pilot, finishes him off with an auto, and then is walling the rest of JinAir off, and they don't have any chance now to actually come back and contest that Baron.
Yep, that's going to be Blade of the Ruin King now pick up for Smeb, so you definitely can't get away from this guy at this point.
Yeah, now the additional damage comes in. Just wanted some additional armor and magic resist.
Yep.
Make sure he lives through these team fights. Comfortable with where he was in this game, considering the advantage he had accrued for himself. He is 2 levels up on the GP, the highest level player in this game.
Well, they have plenty of that all around. I mean, the GA finished here for Peanut with the Randuin's Omen and the Locket. Another one being built by Gorilla. And that Maw of Malmortius is there for Prey, so there's just no one that you can really jump on the side of the ROX Tigers to blow them up. Maybe the Anivia because she doesn't have the Zonias, but has that shield from Seraphs and has the egg reliable to keep her alive. So looking like this might be a well fought in the early game fight here by JinAir, but again, might just be a 2-0 for ROX. They're knocking on the inhibitor tower doors right now.
Yeah, they just can create so many zones. The Curtain Call and the Anivia Wall, the Glacial Storm. It's not really a way for JinAir to walk up and defend right now. Smeb just playing on the opposite side. Some of these barrels.
He's gonna jump on the Trace, takes the bullet. It's gonna be one more coming through. Can it find a target? We'll find Kuzan. It's about 650. The turret goes down. The one in the mid lane as well gonna follow. Wing gets stunned up. Bard ultimate comes through in time to save the Duskblade. Not gonna get the pop, but he will still die in the end of things. Smeb finding the kill onto Pilot. Kuzan trying to get out of dodge. Nice cosmic binding will lock up Peanut and Smeb and stop them from chasing onto the Vladimir, but they are just leaving the base in shambles. 2 inhibitors gonna fall, and Peanut still coming over, denies the back from Kuzan, just keeping him away from the base as long as he possibly can. With Wing dead and Pilot gone for the next 25 seconds, this could be the game here, 37 minutes.
Yeah, they're gonna push forward right now. Trace is back up, but for how much longer?
Not very long. Actually gets into the fountain, so he will live. The slight little reprieve, but the base, you can't say the same about that one. Che gonna take a bunch of damage. Prey goes forward, takes him out at the end for 1 extra kill. ROX just having fun at this point. Nicely played by them. 37.5 minutes. They will take down JinAir in a 2-0.
convincing from the ROX Tigers this evening. Struggled a little bit more in game number 2, took some fights that maybe they shouldn't have, but when we talk about playing to win conditions, they just stuck to Smeb. Got him huge on that Aurelia in spite of the early farm deficit. Had a lot of help there from Peanut, and the GP also just looking like a really weak pick right now. Never even had the late game damage. You'd expect that GP by 37 minutes to at least be doing something, but I just don't think the GP is in a very good place right now.
Yeah.
As strong as it was. And you know, it's picks like the Echo and the Gangplank where you look at JinAir and you say, Trace had such a big champion pool in this spring. He led and innovated the top lane meta in many ways around the world from that top lane Graves, and he's always been a unique player and been surprising and had surprisingly effective pocket picks. So winding back the clock seems like a very strange place for JinAir to be for their top laner.
Yeah, it's just been confusion the last couple times that we've seen these guys in the pick and ban. This one, especially with these picks coming out. Before it was the Shen not being denied or taken away from MVP. You see their most damage to champions is Smeb with a wonderful performance on the Aurelia. So turning things around compared to last season, I would say.
Well, to summer season last year, it was a very famous finals match between the ROX Tigers and SK Telecom, or the spring finals rather, where they tried to play that Aurelia into the Gnar, and it turned out not to work so well. And this time, however, they are looking a lot better with that pick, and we got to see Smeb on his first Aurelia pick of the season.
Yep. And I mean, again, just the whole of ROX Tigers, all of them performing extremely well. Gorilla, maybe not so much getting baited into that magical journey in mid, but outside of that, everything was
that
very
was
much
Smeb's fault.
It was Smeb's fault. He just wanted to go heal him, but that was Smeb's fault. But everybody playing really well. Kuro with some very clutch walls in the Anivius, landing stun after stun with the flash freeze and just pumping out a good amount of damage. Of course, though, after that performance, how could you not give him MVP? It's going to be Smeb, 7-2-4, and a very firm hold on first place with 700 MVP points.
Yeah, calling the jungler at the right times as Trace was pushed very far up. Trace did all he could to not get ganked in that situation and still try and punish. But unfortunately for him, Wing wasn't there, so Peanut able to get that gank, give Aurelia the first blood, and then it was just Smeb rolling through right now, and he is back on top of those MVP point standings, 200 in front of everyone else.
Yep. Just aggressive plays like this throughout the entire game, flashing in for the equilibrium strike, knowing it's not even going to be a stun, just enough to get the slow.
Yeah, and just continuously. There's a wish on this dive right here on a Trace. Trace trying to, you can see he's basically doing all he can to keep farming, drops his ult on himself. Sterix gauges procs. Like, if you're Trace at this point, what the hell are you supposed to do? You need your teammates to help you. This is sloppy.
Yeah.
Trace recalling an award, and this opened up this huge play in the mid lane after Smeb was able to TP in, and now we're starting to check out some of these Baron baits that this play culminated in the actual Baron itself being taken after Smeb with the double kill.
And it was just as the entire run of things. Pilot getting 3-shot by that Aurelia on the backside, and he just ran straight down at everybody and just ripped them apart. So very strong performance by Smeb and the ROX Tigers as a whole. Great from them to continue that little win streak that they now have going for themselves. Look forward to the rest of their games as we move forward, but we do have an interview with our two MVPs. We're going to throw over to Joel for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. We have an interview with the MVPs of ROX Tigers, winning their 2-0 victory against JinAir GreenWings. We have Prey and Smith for the interview. Congratulations on the win, guys. Give us a comment on the win. We're happy, first of all, to just get the win. And I'm happy to be in that first place spot. I don't know how long we can hold it, but I'm happy to be here. Smeb, you've been receiving MVPs from left to right, but you got another one today. How do you feel? It's as I've always said, it's always been my teammates' contribution to the win, and the teammates make me look good, and that's one of the big reasons I got the MVP again today.
정규 시즌에 락스 타이거즈는 언제나 강한 모습을 보여줬었잖아요. 그래서 이번 시즌
We've seen ROX Tigers showing good performance throughout every season, but this season especially, you guys haven't shown the very early start. But how is the team doing right now?
일단 저희가 2위라고 생각을 해서
We always thought of ourselves as a second place team,
많이 준비를 해왔던 것도 있고
and we're always trying to prepare hard to improve ourselves.
저희가 좀 슬로우 스타터 이런 느낌이
And we
있어서
did have a
좀
slow start to the season. We always felt that.
감이 좀 없지 않아 있어서
And trying to figure out what went wrong and trying to figure out the details of improving that was our key to improving.
생각이 드는데 진에 대한 개인적인 평가는 어떻습니까?
JinAir had very good performances in the past games, and what are your ratings on the team?
일단 지금 원딜러 메타가 좀 캐리하는 메타가 아니라
For JinAir, I think it's one of those things that the meta really isn't suiting them well. The ADC is not our carry position right now, and that's one of the things that's hurting JinAir.
다채로운 픽을 선보이셨는데 준비를 계속해서 하고 있으셨던
You've shown very wide variety of picks that you chose from, and your team in general. What do you think about that? We're trying to think of unique champs to pick out to counter the opposition, to kind of surprise them. And we did have a little frightness trying to go in with these unique champs, but I think they turned out okay today.
만들어졌을 때 라인전 상성은 어떤가요? 지금 현재 메타에서.
How is the laning phase for you in this current meta? I think the top laner who takes advantage of the jungler better has the better laning phase, and I think that's the crucial part of it.
바텀 쪽에서 소라카가 등장하면서
And we saw Soraka in the bot lane today.
이런 분석도 있었는데 실제로
And what are some of the strategies that you had picking that for the pick ban phase?
그런 픽들 같은 경우에 저희가 좀 게임을 많이 오래 하다 보니까 예전부터
When we playing with each other for a very long time, we think of various team chemistries that we can come with, and certain compositions like this today was something that we thought of while we were practicing.
노린 건가요? 상대가 이제 쿠잔이
Did you think that Kuzan was gonna pick the Vladimir today and try to counter that as best as he can?
블라디가 그렇게 좀 허무하게 죽는 경우를 잘 못 봤는데
I didn't think that Vladimir could have died so easily by
실제로 1세트
the attacks that I made today.
진짜로 본인들도 막 이거 조합 너무 좋은데 막 이런 얘기를 했다고 하는데
We heard in the booth that you guys rated the team composition that you guys had as very powerful. What were the comments that you guys made?
일단 저희 끝나고 나서 조합이 왜 이렇게 좋지? 약간
We didn't make that much comments in the beginning when we picked it out, but after the game, when we saw the results, we realized how good it was. We prepared a highlight from the game, and let's look at the clip while we talk about it.
이거는 거의 장면이죠. 사람의 무빙이 아니었다.
And this was something that people said this was a godly moving, and little sidestepping that you guys made was something that was very unhumanly, and that's what some of the things that were talked about.
빠른 팀이에요. 그게 어떤 노하우가 있는 건지.
Was there something that you guys really focused on? Your the teammates joining the fight was really fast. What are some of the things that you guys had going to that?
그러니까 저희 팀이 좀 요즘 좀 옛날에는 이제 경기 시작 전부터 많이 신이 나 있었거든요.
Long time ago, we had a team environment that was very upbeat, and we were very excited in going to games.
좀더 잘해지고
But
그런 게 있는
nowadays, it's more like we were trying to be more focused and we're trying to be concentrated on playing a good game.
보여주시기로 굉장히 유명한데 최근에도 프레이 선수 엄청나게 멋진 장면 보이면서
Prey, you've shown very spectacular plays going into some of your games.
멋진 장면도 많이 만들어내셨는데
And what are some of the
어떤 그런 본인
comments you have for what kind of the wonderful plays that you make very often?
왜 이렇게 띄워주시는지 잘 모르겠는데
I don't know why you're saying such good compliments about me, but
특권 아닙니까?
또 오랜만에 또 인터뷰하시니까 일단 뭐 수백 판 중에 그런 좋은 판들이 한 판씩 나온다고 생각하고요.
But yeah, from the many games that we play, I think there are a few games that come up to be very fortunate for us, and it's just a luck for me more than anything else.
궁금한 게 사실 락스 타이거즈가 그동안 계속 준우승을 했잖아요.
ROX Tigers, as we've seen, has always been that second place team.
상위권 혼돈 양상
And we've never seen you guys reach that top level yet.
근데 지금 약간 부진합니다.
But right now, we see SKT falling back from their usual self. What are some of your comments on the team's future?
스프링 때는 더 부진했거든요.
I think we did better on spring, and we had a better chance of getting it to the top.
으로 분류하고 생각하고요.
But with SKT, they were always a strong team, and no matter what the results they had recently, they will always be a strong team, and we always have to respect that. And we're just trying to do better as a team overall, and hope that we can get there sometime soon.
저는 그럼 또 스맵 선수한테 궁금한 게
I want to ask a question to Smeb. You're finally first place in the league right now.
있는 상황인데 상위권 팀들 간의 다툼도 치열하지만
And
하위권 5개
what are the
있는 상황이거든요.
you guys have a fierce competition going up against the top teams in the league, but with the bottom teams in the league, what are some of the thoughts you have going into those games? For example, if you have MVP, for example, and I think those are the teams that can definitely come up in the rankings in the future, later in the season.
연습 때 굉장히 잘하시더라고요.
I think some of the players are very individually talented, and I think they have a potential of getting higher in the rankings than what they are right now.
주고 받나요?
네, 뭐 주고 받았던 것 같아요.
네, 알겠습니다. 그러면 이제 두 번째 경기
We have a highlight from the second game. Let's look at it.
그냥 지나가다가 도시락 먹듯이 걸리면은 계속 잡고 막 그랬어요.
Wow, what a highlight.
You really picked out Trace in multiple occasions,
이건 약간 허를 찔렸다 이런 생각 혹시 안 하셨나요?
but it's some of the picks that seem too easy for you. What were some of the comments that you had for those kind of plays?
아, 네. 조금 좀 놀란 픽이었어요. 근데
Yeah, it was a surprising pick-off for me too. I didn't expect Trace to be in those kind of positions, but I was kind of fortunate to be in the right spot at the right time. And in getting those pickoffs it gave us a lot of advantage.
꽉 잡았다 이런 생각을 하셨나요?
Did you ever feel that in a certain point in game that you guys really secured the win?
스플릿으로 게임 끝낼 수 있다라고.
I think we thought at one point that we can just split push to get the victory, and I think the overall team management was very good for our game.
파괴력도 꽤 강력해서 플레이에 대한 부담이 꽤 있었을 것 같은데
I think you had a lot of pressure going in with that Irelia today. What were some of your thoughts you went during the game?
안 듣고 있었던 건 아니죠?
아니요. 근데 솔직히 말해서 좀 저희가 확실히 유리해졌다고 생각한 게 그러니까 탑이 원래
But with the pressure, I think we did get some advantage after the first game, and things are shaking off for us, and we were getting better picks and we were getting better looks, and we took those advantages and we just made it into a better game.
선수 진활용에 대해서도 굉장히
A lot of people were really complimenting on your Jin play today.
그리고 두 선수 같은 경우 또 스킬 샷도 뭐잘 맞는
And the combination of CCs that you guys provided with the teammates was really spectacular.
진짜 도움이 될 만한 노하우 같은 게
Is there any tips that you can give to anybody who would like to play Jin? I think the best tip I can give is to evade skill shots and hit your targets. That's the best tip I can give.
이제 이 두 선수가 MVP를 이렇게 동시에 받은 적이 있었나라는 생각이 들 정도로 굉장히
It's been a while that I can remember that Smeb and Prey, both of you were MVPs together in the same game. It's always been the one or the other. How does it feel to be in this MVP interview together?
이 친구 혼자 있을 때는 되게 발랄하더니 오늘 되게 조용하네요.
When Smeb was alone, he was talking a lot and he seemed very excited, but now he's quiet.
정말 잘생긴 두
But I'm really just happy to be with the two of you guys and really enjoying this interview together.
프레이 선수가 그런 말씀해 주시니까 너무 영광이에요. 프레이 선수가 LOL 판에서 사실 3대
I'm really thankful that you think that.
아 진짜 영광입니다. 정말 감사합니다. 자 그러면 이제 다음 경기가
Your next match.
무슨 뭐 형제팀이 아니냐 재밌는 스토리가 많이 만들어졌었던 아프리카전.
Your next match is against Africa.
전에 임하는 각오한 말씀과 그리고
And what are can you give us a comment on your thoughts going into the game?
네, 요즘 아프리카도 SKT 잡으면서
We saw Africa beating SKT yesterday, and they've been showing good form. And I think we really need to prepare hard so that we can have a good game against them. And we'll just try to have a good game together when that day comes. And we'll just kind of try
네
hard.
알겠습니다. 이렇게 멋진 경기 끝에 타이거즈가 진에어를 2대0으로
After a spectacular match, we had an interview with Smeb and Prey. And with that, that's it for the interview. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel, for the translation. And yeah, Tigers versus Africa. potential for that to be a very close series with how they've been performing. Big question will be whether they start Iksu and Lyra or Seongwon and Linderong, as we saw yesterday in Game 1, which was very big surprise when they took a killless game over SK Telecom. But
That was a huge surprise, to say the least, considering that Seongwon and Linderong had lost their other 2 games of the season.
yeah, it's a very strong showing for them. But you can see right there, ROX Tigers now resting in first place. All is as it should be. JinAir, though, falling down to 5th. And the rest of the team still have a lot of shuffling to be done. We have a couple more matches this week to go through, and we'll see where the standings are going to rest going into week 6. But for now, ROX Tigers back on top.
Well, they ended last season on top. Maybe they can do it again. Who knows?
We'll have to see. Tomorrow, though, coming up, we have ESC Ever taking on Samsung. Potential for that one to be actually decently close. And then Longzhu versus SK Telecom T1. Some potential as well there. Longzhu showing that they can have those upsets taking down Samsung. And SKT very much been on a decline. They might be able to find some success. And then rounding out the week on Saturday, CJ Entis versus KT Rolster. I think we know how that one was going to go. And then ROX versus Afrika Freaks.
Yeah, ROX versus Africa, suddenly. Very interesting matchup.
Absolutely.
Could go either way, although the ROX Tigers really, again, over the last 3 best-of-3s they played against CJ, Longzhu, and now JinAir, look to have just adjusted their play style to be more around the Drake.
Yeah.
Especially Game 1 was an impressive performance with that composition.
Oh, that was
really well played.
Really dirty. Only giving up 1 kill at the end. It's because they dove the fountain. It was a really strong performance from them. The CJ one, Game 1 against that, a little bit of a teeter-totter on that one. I mean, they definitely can have can get surprised by picks like Hackerum. But that's going to close it out for me and Monty tonight. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow for more LCK action.